Hello, welcome to the very first episode of Voices of Change. I'm Tex Wambui,
I'm Gabe Martinez.
and we are here today to kick off this journey with y'all today. This podcast is about rare conversations, exploring ideas that matter, and uplifting voices that inspire change. And we would like to give thanks to everybody out there who's tuning in and listening in. And we'll have a few conversations today about joy, um, nostalgia, mental health, and how to pay gratitude within your community. So, without further ado, I would like to let y'all know today's episode is the journey of joy. So, we're going to keep it real here today. Happiness can feel like a moving target, especially with everything going on in the world. So, Mr. Martinez, kick us off here, man.
Right on. Yeah. So, Gabe Martinez, as you've been so eloquently introduced. And so, we're excited to kick off this journey with you guys. So we want to understand that this podcast, of course, is about having these real conversations, but exploring ideas that actually matter and uplifting the voices that can help to inspire our change. With today's episode, it's going to be titled The Journey of Joy. And so, moving forward and digging in deep, let's start us off with something light. So, Tex, let's go with favorite childhood memories, the ones that still bring us joy today. Is there something from your childhood that, still makes you smile, still makes you believe?
I mean, yeah, there's a few things from my childhood that still make me joyous and smile. And some of those things I would say growing up, I was a very big outdoor kid. I used to always play in the dirt. You always find me playing in the dirt. So nowadays, as an adult and as a grown up, if you see me playing outside, just know it's me enjoying those childhood things that I used to like to do. Being in nature, running around, causing chaos. Well, right now I can't cause chaos because you get treated like an adult. But I used to
Absolutely.
really enjoy playing in the dirt and actually getting dirty where you go inside and they say like you smell like outside. I used to like really appreciate and like that aspect to where, they say, "Damn, what was you doing?" Well, I was outside. I was playing in the sand. I was playing in the soil. I was playing with trees. I was trying to play tag. So those are some childhood things that still make me smile to this day that I really appreciate doing as an adult, man. So yeah. What about you, man? What you got?
Absolutely. Well, sounds like from you, it sounds like being outside and relishing those moments of childhood and having that moment to also find smiles in today, in the day to day. That sounds like what you're currently finding joy in. For myself, what I would always find joy when I was a child and something that always made me smile is similar to you, being outside, but also like being amongst the groups, playing together, playing sports, doing an activity, whether we're building something, we might be doing Legos, or we might be playing basketball, anything in between. That's something that I always found joy in. Moving forward now as an adult male over here in California, I say that the most joy that I do find is having those moments, whether we're going to the gym, we're going to the weight room, where we're, as a group, we're able to exert that energy, but then also maybe, going to play sports or just going to fix things around the house. Being able to help someone and put a smile on others' faces has always been something as well that has been like a calling for myself, something that has made me smile and continues to this day, not only in the day-to-day life of like my friends and family, but also, in work situations as well. It's a beautiful thing to have opportunities that you can give back, whether it be in small facet or a large facet. That's me, Tex. That's me. There we go.
And finding joy in those everyday things are like super important, especially as you become an adult. And that's why we have this platform here. The voices have changed because we are now in that phase of our society where we definitely need to voice and provide a sense of change for the upcoming generation. So now let's kind of like shift and talk about the small things, right? The everyday moments that make life brighter. I'll tell you this for me right now. If the Steelers win, you see my Steelers jersey. If they win, I'm having a good day. If LeBron James goes out there and get a triple double, I'm having a good day. If Arsenal win, I'm having a good day. But sometimes I find myself, I get caught up in all this big milestones and things that you're personally trying to do. But sometimes it's just the simple stuff that keeps us going, right? And I really don't sometimes find myself actually enjoying and finding joy in those things. I can say I do, but then internally I'm really like, nah, I still can be better at this. I'm my biggest critic. So for you, what's something
Hmm.
that's brings you joy? I know when the Diners win, you get a little joy, but apart from that, what other things do you feel like are giving you joy in your every single day life to the point where you're at right now?
Yeah, man, bang bang Niner gang. Yeah, it might be
Steeler gang,
sports
Steeler
teams. It
gang.
might be watching my Kings get a W, basketball, NBA, if you guys aren't aware. But similar to you, right? I concur with what you're saying about getting caught up in the day-to-day goals and the navigating the ambient noise that you might be having, right? And we set these, these goals for ourselves, and we want to achieve them. We want to do everything that we can, especially as men, especially and then with women as well. Now, when it comes to myself, however, finding joy in the process of achieving those goals or achieving those milestones definitely helps to propel me forward, right? For instance, I got a new job as a manager, and every day it's not going to be the same thing, I have a goal of, getting a promotion, or I have a goal of building or putting drywall in at my house so that I can insulate my garage, like little things like that. But it's the baby steps that you have to recognize like where you're at in the path and where you are moving forward towards your goals. That's what helps me. And the little things that add up, right? Seeing my kids smile when I get home, after a long work day, it might not have been the best, but you get home and then having my two sons, daddy, daddy, running to me at the door, my wife being there as well and greeting me when I get there, those little things add up, and it continues to push me forward, propel me forward, and towards those goals and towards greatness for all intents and purposes. I would say that moving forward, for anybody that is going through a sense of struggle with that are going through these goals that are having struggles attaining those goals in that process, it's to challenge you to find joy, seek joy every day in the little things that matter and the little things that are going on, so that moving forward, that you can take those steps that you're taking and use that as momentum to keep on moving forward. Yes, sir.
And you said it right there. You hit it right on the head, finding joy in every single day things, which kind of now leads to the next part, the power of gratitude, right? What ties all this is that gratitude is one of the biggest things you can have. Is like you said, you might have a rough day at work, but then you come home, you see your kids and your wife, you're like, you know what? There's bigger things to worry about in life rather than just being so stuck and worried about life. And for example, like for me, I'm a workaholic. I think since the beginning of
Oh
this
boy.
year, since January 1st till today, I can count the amount of hours of sleep I've had just because one, we've been trying to do this podcast. We got full-time jobs. You're a full-time dad, full-time husband. I got over here but then sometimes I forget to actually give myself grace and having that sense of like, you know what? Let me be thankful. And studies do show that practicing gratitude actually improves your mental health. And I get it. Life can be hard sometimes. It's tough to really be grateful sometimes. It's really hard sometimes to even find that 30 seconds where you can just like, I'm going to focus on my breath. I'm just going to focus on talking to myself. But I think shifting our focus even just a little can make a huge difference. So, Gabe, what would you say in terms of the power of gratitude are some of the most important practices you've embodied within yourself, as well as the people around you?
Man, there are boundless habits, boundless practices that I have been exposed to or that I practice that have definitely helped myself. Now, I'll start off. Little quick blurb and we'll get back into it, is that, I'm firmly founded in believing in God. I believe that, whatever anybody's religion is and whether they have religion or not, that's something that is a landmark that holds you true to your foundation, right? And for me, starting my day with a quick prayer, reading a quick verse. I keep my Bible on me, so reading a verse right before I go into work, to center
Hey,
myself,
Brett,
to stay
with
ready.
that
Come on
Bible.
now. Hey, keep it on me. They say it's the holy sword, right? You got to keep it on you. So for me, I continue to humble myself, because I may be in a position that I have never been in before. I may be in a position that others aspire to be, right? However, I have to understand that coming before other people, coming before the world, right, to humble myself and to keep myself grounded. So that's what I do. I practice meditation in some forms. And in addition as well, I also continue to give myself grace with the accomplishments that I have, similar to what you said earlier, Tex, is that you're an overachiever. I definitely align with that as well, because when it comes to, I would say, Black men like ourselves, is that against the world, against all odds, right? We want to be the highest achievers. We want to, prove the world wrong, or prove others wrong, show how good we can be. Because not only, especially in positions of leadership and positions of power, but we as Black men have to approach it in a sense that this is an opportunity to show not only my peers, not only my boss or my associates or employees, but the whole world that, this is what excellence is. And that's what I aspire to be. And I hope everybody else aspires to as well. Now, pivoting back to what you were saying earlier, is that habits that a lot of people also follow up with, that I have been exposed to, is practicing a habit of giving thanks to other people, right? Majority of the time that we go through life, or for myself personally, is that I've always tried to appreciate the steps that people have taken, to put me into a position that's better for myself. In addition as well, maybe not that, but the steps that people have also taken in the day-to-day lives. You held the door open for me. Hey, thank you. I appreciate you, sir. Or you're at the grocery store and, so you dropped your wallet and they give you back, like giving thanks for like simple things, and that goes a long way, because I firmly believe like the more good that you put out into the world, the more good that's going to come back to you. And in terms of habits and circling back to gratitude, I think being grateful for, the small things, it all adds up. You got anything for me, Tex?
Yeah, I got some things to follow up with that and then give it back to you because I know you are the genius on this and you got some. Just to let y'all know, this man is a sociologist. Even though he's big in the business sector, he is a man of faith. He knows about theories and how those theories are in practice. He'll give y'all some facts. But just to follow up on that, a personal habit of mine that I've come to practice more that allows me to give gratitude is I love to eat. If you ever see me eating, just know in that moment, I am actually giving myself a chance to like breathe, relax. It might be the same for everybody, but for me, I am a big connoisseur. I devour food like there's no tomorrow. And that is my way of giving gratitude to myself, is because I will starve myself until I feel like, okay, I've done something. Let me now eat. That is my habit that I've come to realize over time. It might not be the healthiest sometimes, because sometimes I'll find myself not eating for like 24 hours and then eating the next. I'm like, but sometimes I've gotten better at it, but that's a habit of mine that I've come to realize is good for my giving myself gratitude. Another habit is I am a big, big motivator. I am the type of person I will cuss you. If you tell me you have a goal and I see that you ain't doing it, I don't care. I will cuss you out. I believe accountability is one of the biggest things. So I will be
I can
stubborn.
attest to it.
Exactly. I will bug somebody no matter what. I will make sure I can do whatever in my power to let that person know, like, one, I value you and I value your goals and I want you to get to those things. So that is my way of gratitude is I can be really stubborn to somebody when they tell me they want to get something done, but I see, going like this. I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna keep hitting that nail on the head until you get it done. Um, so those are some ways for me when it comes to gratitude as well as finding joy for myself. But now, Gabe, I know you got some facts that you want to give out to our listeners out there and viewers so that they can kind of better understand the current state of people who are in our communities. Like, what can we do and
Absolutely.
how we can address these problems?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so I'm glad that you actually brought that up. So, of course, like we said, Voices of Change podcast, we're here to, talk about joy, right? But also some things that affect our joy, some things that we forget to actually approach is the mental health that we have. Currently, there is a national mental health crisis, especially among Black Americans, right? And especially across the United States. We do face these economic and these social mental health disparities, right? Now, quick fact, according to the National Alliance of Mental Health Illness, otherwise known as NAMI, Black individuals are less likely to receive the mental health in compared to our white counterparts. Now, of course, this is something that is a disparity. This is something that needs to be spoken about, right? us as Black individuals and as a community together, in comparison to other communities, not only do we not receive the care that when necessary, not only do we push it off, but we often receive care later. And it's usually in the course of when our illnesses are worsening. And as a result, our outcomes are worsening. I understand as well, I've done some studies, and I'm sure that in your communities, for our listeners, that a lot of the stigmas for seeking help across America, it is frowned upon in the Black community, right? For instance, we have a historical mistrust of like our medical system, and with that compounded with our cultural beliefs in self-reliance, it just deters us as groups, as families, from seeking the help that we need. And this, as a result, further perpetuates untreated medical health issues. Now, not only is it a disparity from trust, but it's a disparity for seeing a likeness of people in those fields, whether it's in mental health physicians, whether it's in actual medical physicians, right? A part of that stigma stems from the lack of trust because of how not only our nation, but our medical system has done a disservice for the groups of not only Black men, but Black women over the last 100 plus years. So just wanted to drop some knowledge there and understand that a solution that we can have, a solution that we can provide for our groups is that, to come together. If we as a community moving forward can start to come together, speak about the different mental health crises that we're facing, speak about the stigma around of seeking help for mental health. And the more that we are able to have conversations like this, the more that we will be able to progress not only as a group of people, but as a community and further as a nation. Do you have anything to add to that, Tex?
Yeah, the only component I would like to add is that as we have more episodes in the Voices of Change, we will discuss more in terms of things like related to environment, and how those affect your mental health. And the reason is I guess Gabe is a component where he's bringing in the sociology aspect of things and societal things, and me, I am more of I'm an environmentalist type of person. I like to be able to work things that how they affect the environment. And as you can see also as well on the Voices of Change podcast is one of the things that we're doing, but as well as the wetlands restoration in Kenya, as well as empowering mobility program that will be geared towards this shift to clean energy and how this is affecting specifically the underserved communities, as well as how does that translate into your mental health. And fun fact actually is that we've already had our first environmental program in Kenya in February 1st this year. We're going to be having a summer program this year for people in Georgia to be able to be part of the movement of the Voices of Change to ensure that they're playing a part of their community and ensuring that we can address how the underserved communities won, as well as how you can represent yourself as a Black individual, as wherever you are. We Black, so we are here for the Black voices. But that's all I have to add on that. And we'll kind of transition now to our next segment, where it's the segment where it's going to be called Three for the Founders. I mean, I'll let that up. Gabe, that's on you, man. Three for the Founders.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So switching on to a new fun segment, of course, leading with Three for Founders. We're going to try three things that we know, try, or we can reflect on. So Tex, do you have anything that you could acknowledge, anything you reflect on in your past, today,
Yeah.
maybe in the future, something that we can bring to the table for it. Three for the Founders. Come on now.
I'll say number one. I'll give a little story of why I say this. Number one, this past week, I had the opportunity to go to LA. I was there for the Youth Climate Leaders of Color Conference.
Okay.
And I had the opportunity after that. I had to go to LibertyCon, and being in two different environments, it's very good. But one thing I really, really learned and I really picked up was acknowledging ancestry. You gotta acknowledge where you come from, where you are, and where you're going. Because understanding where we come from helps us root our happiness in essentially something bigger than just ourselves. And I want to give big credibility or a big shout out to the Youth Climate Leaders Conference where I was at, who's been a supporter of our podcast. And I would like to say, that is one thing that I believe is acknowledge your ancestry. And for me, my ancestry, I am from Kenya, Limuru, born and raised there. I'm the Kikuyu tribe. The reason I say this is just something I learned from somebody too. You know how they be asking you, where you from? When somebody asks you, oh, hey, who are you? Where you from? from now on, I'm gonna stop saying I'm from Sacramento. I'm gonna start saying where I originally am from by saying my tribe, my land, and then build up for that. But anyways, I say that to say acknowledge your ancestry. But yeah, Gabe, you got number two.
Absolutely. So moving forward, something for myself I want to acknowledge, and I encourage everybody to try, is to grow your own food, whether it's in organic, hopefully it's organic, or it's not, GMO, whatever you want, right? Whether you are growing them, whether you're buying organic food, whether you just add more fresh food to your diet, right? We can all notice and see the effects that the diet that you have has on not only your mood, your body, and just how your overall quality of life is going to move forward, right? If anything, right, I also would also encourage that everybody do a little bit of research about hydroponics, aquaponics, right? Just because for myself, we recently set up a hydroponic system where we're feeding from our fish, and the water that's moving forward is also feeding our food, right? And it's a whole actual cycle that not only brings us organic food, but also gives us actual fish that we can, purchase, or not purchase, fish that we can have, cut, clean, cook, eat, all in one system. Definitely recommend do some research on that. Moving forward though, I did want to ask, like, what's one food you think everyone should add to their diet?
Oh, what food?
Yes, sir.
Good question. Well, if you don't got water in your diet, then you need to start adding that. But one
Essential.
one food I would say would be um okay, when I was a kid, I never used to really like eating beets, but as I got
Mm.
older, I started realizing how good beets are for you. So everyone should try having beets. And if you don't like the texture of beets, like when you eat them, maybe you can get the beet powder and put it in like your smoothies or drinks, because beets have definitely good overall outcomes and health benefits. So I'll say beets that everyone should have
I
in their
hear I
diet.
hear you on that. I hear you on it, and I can definitely attest, fellas. Get that beetroot powder, and you're
Yeah.
gonna see some things going really good for you. I'll tell you right now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wink, wink.
Moving forward, I did want to also move into our next topic, number 3, hot topic.
Oh yeah, what's the
Um,
hot topic of the
so
day? What's the hot topic of
yeah,
the day?
all right, something that is going on right now, right?
We got a lot
Hot
going
topic of
on
the day.
actually.
There's the societal climate, our economic climate, I would say our political climate are all in the air, right? We're not gonna talk about politics, but one thing I
Yeah, you
will
can go
say is
check
that
out my other podcast, City. That I talk all that
you
nonsense
can
there.
yeah, you can pivot over there to City Podcast, Staying True to Yourself, hosted by the Tex Wambui, for any of the political nonsense, jargon, and banter with his special guest. Shout out Sydney. Now, the hot topic of the day, of course, right, in relation to happiness, is that a lot of people find that with happiness, the more that you gain, the less happy that you become. The more responsibilities, the more money, the more friends, the more responsibilities and all of the in between, right? The more that you get, the less happy you are, right? The hot topic of the day. What is it that you do? What is it that's something that you have done in the past that makes you happy, that you could do any day of the week, right? Any time of the day, and you'll know that you'll find joy, you'll find happiness in that. Can you answer that for me, Tex?
Okay. I think the one thing for me that I do every day that gives me joy, honestly, is getting enough sleep has been my
Mm.
biggest thing. I realize when I don't sleep, I am very irritant, I'm very annoying, and I'm very like I have a like I can feel my heartbeat is just beating fast. So something I've definitely tried to do recently in the past couple of weeks is making sure I get enough sleep on, and then with that, stay hydrated because
Come on now.
yeah, stay hydrated because I be finding myself instead of drinking water, I might be drinking a beer, trying to stay up, trying to do this, drinking coffee, trying to do that, trying to do this. So stay hydrated. And I got me. If you don't have one of these, y'all, get yourself a water bottle. Keep yourself hydrated. That will bring you a lot of happiness to your life from a small, from like a micro level, which will magnify the macro things of stuff. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's for
One
me.
One thing I would like to also add is that we do not encourage any type of alcoholic drinks or beverages.
We do
We
not. But if
encourage,
y'all listening and y'all
but
want to sponsor us, we willing to take it.
we are willing to take it. However, moving forward, I want to also pivot is that, yes, of course, your diet, right? Getting sleep, two things that bring happiness. Something for myself that I will say that always brings me happiness is that if I'm able to, in some way, shape, or form, do some type of workout, whether it's just 25, 50 push-ups in the morning, or if I actually get to go to the gym, or if I'll go on a walk with my kids, finding an opportunity to exert yourselves. Because we as human, right, we're not meant to just be sitting down. A lot of people nowadays, we have jobs where we're sitting at a desk for 8 to 10 hours, or we're doing a lot of different movements while sitting down, right? We as humans are meant to be moving. We're meant to be letting the blood flow. And as a result, when I don't for myself, because little blurb here, ex-athlete, ex-semi-professional athlete, and
D1, baby.
college D1, baby. Shout out UC Davis. Appreciate you guys.
Tight
Tight end.
end right there. Y'all
Yeah,
see that? But
tight end.
you're tight end.
Yeah. But pivoting back is that as a result for my constant levels of, I would say, extracurricular activities, movement, is that I can't necessarily go a day without doing that. And if I am able to accomplish that, oh, I'm in heaven. Amen. I could check the box that, hey, we did something today. There's a lot of people that are out there, and you may be listening to this. If you sitting on your tail, you sitting down on the couch right now, just go ahead and do a couple air squats. Go ahead and knock some push-ups out. Maybe walk around the house. Do something, because once you do that, it's just going to start to build momentum. And, we're all about health is wealth. And it doesn't just start with mental health. It starts with also the health of your body as well. So that's my 2 cents for today. You know it. And turn it over to Tex. Before we move forward, I wanted to pass it off. Tex, do you have anything else to say before we head into our wrap up?
Before we come to a wrap up here, I would like to attest to that. For me, actually, I like to run. I love to run. For some reason, just the other day, I went running and I hit a sub 8-minute mile, and it's been a while since I ran a mile. Which to me, I was like, 8-minute mile. Where the hell did that come from? But
big body. Okay.
Every week, I at least try to get at least a 3-mile run in. Because I realize the more I run, the more my knees right now are deteriorating. So I'm trying to find an alternative of swimming right now, or something that's less impact on my knees. So yeah, cycling. And by the way, speaking of cycling, voices have changed. We're gonna be doing cycling stuff in Kenya, y'all. So if y'all interested in going on a trip in Kenya soon, be on the lookout. We might do it for you, if y'all like us.
Yeah.
Apart from that, that's all I had to add to that. So before we wrap up, let's leave you guys with this, right? Happiness isn't just something that is a destination. It's a daily practice. And I will quote this because I was part of the Compassion in Action Network, learning about meditation. I had some great lamas who were my mentors in that 1-year journey I had with people in Nepal. Had the chance to go to different meditation facilities and retreats. And one thing I learned is that happiness is something you will always try to have every single day. Because if you're not happy, doesn't matter if you got $1 million, you're not happy. It's a practice of every single day. Every single day, you have to practice for yourself. How do you keep yourself happy? Because when you can find joy, you can find yourself. That's all I'm going to leave y'all with today before Mr. Martinez, Gabe, comes and wraps it up for us here.
Yes, sir.
So there you go.
Moving forward, I did want to also ask, right, for our listeners and viewers, right, what is a llama, Tex?
Oh, llama. Did I say that wrong or something? Well, llama, they got the llama animals, but then you got the people who are like the monks, people who are like Buddhist monks. Yeah, that's as much as I can. That's as much as I can. I'm not even. If I was ever trying to be a monk, it would take me years,
Absolutely,
years.
absolutely.
But that's essentially kind of what I had a practice of doing for a whole year with them. So,
absolutely. Thank you so much. So before I do turn this over, I did want to drop one last factual piece of data, right? And so, of course, in our society right now, that's something that we also are dealing with in the Black community is racial trauma and stress. And the history of our racial trauma, right, stemming back all the way from civil rights and dating back from there to slavery and how that paints into our day-to-day lives, the movement of modern-day police brutality. Also, they all continue to impact the mental health of Black communities. And studies have shown that the constant exposure to this racial discrimination, whether it's direct, it's vicarious, or it's vicarious meaning not direct or kind of underneath said things, right? It can lead to anxiety, depression, and PTSD. So understanding that, that also is understanding that and applying it to our day-to-day lives, right? How can we seek happiness? How can we find joy, right? It's to also, if you're for listeners that are outside of the Black community, maybe aligning with the Black community, is that take initiative yourself, right? Look out for people, have the conversations about the disparities that are happening, especially with things that are going on in our day to day in this current society. I challenge you. I challenge everyone, right? Have these conversations, open up community, bring people together, not only for our mental health, for our physical health, for our societal health, economic health. If we can all come together, we can be the voices of change. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please be ready and aware to check out more amazing content on the Alive Podcast Network app. Again, that is the Alive Podcast Network app. Supporting this podcast means you'll get ad-free access to nearly 100 other Black hosted podcasts. And if you help keep conversations like this going, and it will help us keep conversations moving forward. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on The Voices of Change. And Tex,
What up?
take it away. Take
Thanks,
it away,
y'all.
sir.
Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see you next time on The Voices of Change. I always say on my other pod, I say pursue the dream, seize the day. But on this one, it's The Voices of Change, Black hosted podcast in the Alive Podcast Network. Just check that out. Just want to reiterate that. And lastly, peace out, y'all. Be blessed. Be amazing. Like, subscribe, comment, share, everything. Check us out at Sustain the Story on IG. And y'all have a blessed, wonderful day. Peace.
Be blessed
out.
and be a blessing, everybody. Peace.